This is a sniping position video for World of Tanks. So first here we have assault defend mode for Siegfried line. You can see that that enemy tank is along the red line, but there's a safe position where you can hit him even though he thinks is safe. Like for example, my allies that are directly in front of him might not be able to damage him, but I can damage him from this location. So it's something you want to be aware of. If you notice that there's enemy tanks over there, you can pull out to here and help your team out. Now here's an example where I was up on this hill and I was shooting at tanks. You can see that it's clear through here. You've got a lot of places you can shoot through, even though you won't, it'll be outside of your render distance, but you can blind fire. The enemy got really mad that I was here. They started blind firing back at me because I was able to have clear shots on a lot of enemy tanks. And not only that, but you can also have clear shots on this field over here. All you got to do is go up there on that hill. There's an example of an enemy tank I was able to shoot at. This is a similar position. You can see that there's some sort of a position there. This is a position that I've been playing lately where I can hit the enemy tanks. Look at where I am on mines and look at where they are without being spotted. I was spotted here, but it is because there's an enemy tank right there. You do have to be careful. There is a row of bushes and a house, and you can also reverse and go further back. But you also notice that I just spotted the Waffenträger, so I didn't know he was there. You can use the house to block you, but if you use the house to block you, then you're more likely to get spotted when you fire through these trees. So you got to be careful and you got to be ready to hustle, which means to get down into this lower level. If the enemy controls this upper area, it's not impossible to play here, but it's a much higher risk. This is on Himmelsdorf, and I don't remember why I was playing that position. Okay, so over here we have this position. You can see that you can shoot through this gap over here where enemy tanks like to play, but they're a lot more cautious. And you can shoot under the bridge over here, which is this position. A lot of enemy light tanks like to drive through here. So this is actually a cool position where you can sit and park and you can keep an eye on what's going on over here. And if the enemy tries to get aggressive over here, or if they try to push through over here, you've got like two different places that you can monitor. So if the enemy wins on the west, but has not won on the east, this is a good position to fall back to, where you can hit them as they leave in the east and prevent them from advancing on the west. This is a spotting position. I've just been trying different positions, and I noticed that from here I was able to do spotting fairly well. This is a position that I like to use. A lot of people go to the bush up here in the front, which you could definitely do, but if you use the bush in the back, you could hit over the house without knocking it down. If you do the bush in the front, you might have to knock the house down, or you have to climb up the slope, which is over here. If you got a powerful engine, you could do it, and they may have changed the layout to block it. Also over here, you're far less likely to get spotted. What's going on here is that you can sit on the other side of this train through this gap and fire from the south into the north. And likewise, from the north, you could shoot through the gap into the south. So that's a little gap. And the reason why I might have been doing it because there was an enemy tank that was shooting me through this little gap and he was hull down. I like to use this as an ambush position. Here's an example of where I'm possibly shooting at that tank through the gap. There you can see I was shooting through the gap. It's diagonal through the train. I'm in the north. He's all the way in the south. This is an SPG position. I'm trying to test out different SPG positions. You can obviously hit the medium tanks. But the key is what heavy tanks can you hit? Little bit difficult to hit over here, but you can definitely hit a tank that's right here or over here, all the way back here from this position. I haven't found the ideal position yet. When I play, I love Karelia in the defend mode. It's my favorite mode. This is a spotting position you can use to monitor what's crossing over. The problem is that stupid players will wander around and they'll spot you. And the IS being here, he increases the chance that the enemy might head out to this position. So you do have to be careful with this position, but it is a cool position if you want to do spotting damage. So maybe if you're a low tier tank, and like this T25 AT or the Super Hellcat, and you're in a high tier game, you can come out here and spot instead of firing. This is a position. What I'm doing is I'm trying to see what's going on, obviously, on the other side. There is a place over here where enemy tanks cross over. However, they kind of like to come through the gap I'm pointing to on the mini-map. They go through the other place less often. If they go through this spot, you can usually hit a tank from here self-spotting. If you go down below, you can do it. The problem is there is a tree in the way that blocks you somewhat from spotting. So I haven't found the perfect position. I've been trying different positions. I definitely do some damage from here. It's not perfect though. You can see in this case, I spotted an Udis. Look at where he is, and I was able to spot him. um, and you can quickly run away. Now here's an example where I found a position, which is here. You can hide on the rear of this slope, fire through these buildings. I know you don't have a wide view of everything, but what I usually do is I go into town and I shoot through these buildings. And if you go into town, you can hit all sorts of stuff. So this is a position you might want to consider trying to see if you can shoot through the town, maybe knock some buildings down and have some shots on the enemy. This is a position where the enemy, there's these two hills over here, and the enemy likes to run through here. Usually a tank like a Waffenträger or a Grill. They like to go through here. You can see I hit the Grill 15 because they have weak armor. They want to be protected on all sides and have a place to run through. You could shoot at them while they're trying to run away through this gap in this area. So if you happen to know that there's an enemy tank who might be running through there, there is a way to shoot back at them. That's what it looks like. This is me playing up here. You can also drive through here. I'm not going to say it's a perfect position. I haven't played it very much, but there's definitely people who do play here. Maybe it'll work out, maybe not. I'll try it more in the future. This is playing near the cathedral. You can see that there's an FV4202. Look at where he is on the mini-map. You can see that I damaged him. It is possible to hit those tanks. Usually if you're here and you hit that tank, he's not going to climb up again. You're only going to get one shot. This is a good spot for something like a Waffenträger or a tank that does a lot of damage or an autoloader. And you can turn around and shoot at the encounter base. Where the little triangle is another place that you can go to shoot at the encounter cap. This is showing, look at where the enemy tank is on the mini-map. It looks like a Waffenträger. And look at where I am. I'm so far away. And I didn't know you could shoot all the way through there. You know, if I knew years ago, I forgot about it. So that's how far away I am. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to sit over here and help my team out and snipe at those tanks. This is a position that I discovered from the corner of the map. You can hit enemy tanks that are crossing to try and enter the hill. You can also do it from where I'm pointing on the mini map. There's some bushes and some rocks on the island, and I happen to be on the way there, and I noticed that from this position you can do it also. You could see I took shots at T2 medium. Oh, I guess that's a T2 medium over here. But you do have some clear shots. This is the position. That's what it looks like. So if you're on this spawn and you're heading to the island, stop over here and help your team shoot at any tanks that are trying to cross over. There's an example of what the view looks like. You can see that you do have a clear view, including the wheels of the enemy tanks. From a lot of the positions, like if you go down over here, you might only see his turret. This is a position. In this particular game, I had a great game side scraping over here, shooting at these tanks. If you have a large tank, it's going to be difficult. If the enemy SPG is in the south and he keeps firing at you, the best position for SPG on this map is in the south over here and in the south over here because you can hit pretty much everybody on the map from down here. I've had a lot of bad games over here, but if you got a small tank and the SPG is not shooting at you, you could have a great game from over here. That's the view of what it looks like. This is a position that ended up working out really well. Look at where I am. Most of your allies are going to be where I'm pointing on the mini map. But look at where I am, just out in the open. I found a position and I've got nice shots. I was able to chase him away. I might have actually killed him. I believe I chased the Chrysler away and I killed this tank. I just kept firing HE rounds at him. This is a position. You notice that this building, there is a little part over here that is cut out. You can sit over here and shoot through there. You don't have to side scrape. You don't have to be out in the open. You just sit over here and you keep shooting through here. The issue I had is that I had enemy tanks that were literally right over here and over here. So I was constantly going between two different positions, but I was shooting at them through there. And unfortunately, they took a shot at me. Here's an example of me firing through. Sometimes I hit the wall because this is somewhat low profile. And unfortunately, they did take me out of the game. Somebody hit me through here, the object 705. I hit the 705, which I believe I'm pointing to over here, and he hit me back through that little gap. What I'm doing here is I probably had high ping time and packet loss, so I decided to stay in the back. This over here, where the enemy likes to snipe from, I'm pointing to on the minimap, you can blind fire in this area. Just blind fire a couple shots. I mean, I've got 30 rounds and a long reload. I'm going to blind fire a couple shots. If you've got a slow tank and you're heading into battle, blind fire a couple shots through here. Or if you think that there's an enemy tank over there, you might hit something. I've been hitting a lot of tanks blind firing. That's what it looks like. From a couple different positions, you can hit the enemy tanks over here. But you really got to hit them if they're engaged in battle. If they don't come around, you can't hit them. And if your allies are gone, you won't be able to hit them because they'll go behind this slope. If they try to retreat, you can hit them. You could try different positions, get low in the water. You can't really park in the water because the water is deep. You will get spotted over here. So this is a position you could play. I like to do it so I can help my allies out. I like to play unique positions and challenging positions that are a little bit more fun. That's the view of what it looks like. You see where that tank is? They're all bunched up over here. So it looks like he already came around. Or maybe he didn't. Hard for me to see from where I am. Yeah. This is an example of where that enemy tank was sniping at me through the rail lines diagonally. There's a lot of great positions over here. You can come from the north and drive down to here and shoot through here and shoot through here, and you do it through the trains. You don't do it by the houses because the train cars are low, so you can sit hull down and shoot across through here. But he's using those same low profile train cars and he's shooting back at me from that position. And he is, I think, at object 263. In this case, the enemy was the last tank, and he was trying to hide in this position. I was wondering if this is a place where you could sit hull down. Obviously, there's an opening over here. There might be one over here. I'm not sure, but that's where he ended up. The good thing about this position is if you're here in the south and you pull into here, the enemy can't snipe you from far away. They literally have to drive up to you, so you delay your death a little bit. This is a spotting position. Very difficult to find a good spotting position. I usually try to go to the halfway point or a little bit more. It's difficult because there's just so many trees everywhere that if you find a good spot, you're just not going to remember it the next time you come. So it's hard to remember the spot. If you want to spot, you come down here. If you want to snipe, you come up where I'm pointing on the mini map. On the mini map, you can shoot at tanks over here and shoot at tanks over here and do some spotting, and you have an option to run away. You don't have to be back where the SU is. There's a couple of other spots where you can hide. Okay, so that's it for this series of videos. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.